What's up, people? Welcome to week 10. I am here in full weekend dad mode. I got my dad hat and the required sweatshirt with the tennis shoes. Oh, man. If you didn't think I was 40 before this week, you know it now. You know it. And this is what Friday looks like. Okay. I wanted to record my lecture yesterday, and I had my rockin' St. Patrick's Day theme Grateful Dead shirt on. Okay, totally hip, and my Birkenstocks, but had an unexpected meeting, couldn't get to it. I was gonna say, hey, you're watching this the week of St. Patrick's Day. So the most I can give you in terms of St. Patrick's Day celebration is this. Look, it's green, all right, and it's Celtic. There you go. Go taste the soccer, or I'm sorry, football. Football, as is known around the world outside of America. All right, so let's get to this week 10. This week we're gonna be talking about here. I'll pull the schedule if I can find it. There it is. That didn't do it. Let's try now. Let's try now. Oh, I need to minimize me. There we go. Okay. We've had enough of me. We are reviewing writing introductions, doing Tolman paragraphs, using research and quotes and poetry and how to do all that kind of good stuff. Okay. And this week you are going to write the rough draft of your essay from the outline. Okay. So things that we're going to work on today are located in the week 10 folder. We have the rough draft. This is where you're going to submit your rough draft of your essay, which I'm talking about today. This is the PowerPoint for the notes I'm using today, and this is the poetry style document that I'm going to show you at the very end of this lecture. Okay. Okay. Slideshow. Let's do it from beginning. Oh, let me switch my views. There we go. And put my face somewhere else. Don't want to take you away from that. All right, so week 10 of 1102, using research to support analysis of poetry. Okay. Okay, so the differences between essay 1 and essay 2. In essay 1, I focus mostly on MLA formatting and using quotes. And like integrating quotes even. So this, which is, the MLA stuff was like really important, and that you had an outside source in your paper. I did mark off some grammatical usage of quotes, but I will be paying much more attention to the grammatical presentation of your quotes in essay 2. A lot more points off will be for not properly punctuating your quotes once you have used them and put and placed them in your paragraphs. Okay. Also, essay 2 still MLA formatting. Okay, as I've just discussed, punctuation of quotes. Essay structure though, body paragraphs, conclusion. Are your body paragraphs well organized? Do you have a clear claim, support, and analysis? I did take off points from essay 1 if you used too many quotes, which will continue happen this with essay 2 as well. You don't really want more than 30% of your essay being quotes. Okay. In your paragraph, a paragraph shouldn't have more than 30% to be quotes. In a paragraph, you should have about 10-20% is your claim, 30% is your support, which I'm going to talk about some more today, and 50% of your essay is analysis. So if you have 3 body paragraphs and each of those you don't have more than 30% of your paragraph being quotes, supports, and then you have an introduction and a conclusion, which really shouldn't have any quotes in it at all. That means that you should have under 30% of your paper as support. Okay. And the support isn't just direct quotes. Support is also summaries, paraphrase. 30% of your paper should not be direct quotes. Okay. All right. And as I posted in the previous email, a higher grade on essay 2 will replace a lower grade on essay 1. So if you made an 85 on essay 1 and you make a 95 on essay 2, then essay 1's grade will be changed to a 95. If you made a 90 on essay 1, but you make an 80 on essay 2, that 90 will not change. Okay, but I'm not matching essay 1. I'm not matching essay 2 grades to the grade you make on essay 1. So you could have in the grade book a 90 and then have an 80. Of course, you don't want that. Ideally, you're doing better with every essay. That's the goal. Okay. So somewhat using research in writing. As discussed before, there's supportive research and there's topical research. Okay. Supportive research. Research that directly supports your analysis because the author shares your perspective. So that means that you find research that's actually about the same poem that you're writing about. Or in this example, you find research that's actually about the short story. So for example, if your topic is about how the main character in the yellow wallpaper becomes insane because of the setting, which I discussed before, then supportive research would be finding a piece of research that's actually on the yellow wallpaper and haunted houses. So if you're writing about Clint Smith's poem about his grandfather, supportive research would be research that's actually about that actual poem. Okay. Now I picked stuff that was kind of hard. I don't really want you to use supportive research because I want you to try to. Supportive research is just kind of like Cliff Notes. I mean, you're just having to read someone else's ideas, and then you're just reporting on their ideas. I would rather have you develop your own ideas and try to support your own opinion of the text. Okay. Now, sometimes I'll admit this also though. Sometimes supportive research is used to justify your analysis. You might have already had an analysis, and then it turns out other people felt similar. So it's like a paradox. It's like an original idea, but not an original idea. It's original to you. You didn't read someone else's ideas about what you have to say, so it's original. But then you discover that even though you thought of this yourself, turns out other people thought this as well. So they wrote some supportive research on it. And so, and if that's the case, then I get why you use supportive research. I just don't want you to read a poem and not try to figure something out on your own, and instead just going to somebody else and reading what they say and be like, oh yeah, that sounds right. I really want you to be intentional in your interpretations of the poems, okay? Because the main focus of this class is not whether or not you have a great grasp of literature. It's can you think at the college level and then communicate at the college level. So I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. I'm looking for an analytical and thoughtful response, even if I don't share that response with you, even if that's not the way I interpreted it at all. Okay. As long as you did, and you can communicate that and argue that, then you've achieved the goal. Okay, um, so again, supportive research, research that directly supports your analysis because the author shares your perspective. Okay. Then topical research, research that indirectly supports your analysis because you are applying the research to your topic. So again, you're doing the yellow wallpaper and you're arguing about how she becomes insane because of the setting. And then you find psychiatric research done about how isolation causes people to go crazy. That's great. You know, I like that. I like, to me, that shows kind of like deeper thinking when you take, and I love psychology. I love doing psychological analysis of characters and stuff and how characters are motivated to act based upon their upbringing and their family life. What's happening here? You know what I'm saying? In the noodle. So if you can do that, that's great. Okay. So you need to use one outside resource per body paragraph, which means that you have 3 poems to discuss, then you have 3 pieces of outside research. Okay, not 1, 3. So on your works cited page, you're going to have 3 poetry entries and 3 outside resources entries, which means you will have 6 total things listed on your works cited page. On the trois. Cease. 4 and 5 is always very shady for me. You can use biblioguides and Galileo for your research. Okay. LibGuides is on the school's library. Okay. You can go to the library and go to Galileo and more. Okay. Or you can use reliable web sources, reliable web sources, not arcane, not esoteric, not uh, uh, random websites. Okay, you want ones that come from a pretty reliable sources like BBC, anything that's by the AP, by Associated Press. Those are good. Okay. You can use on Galileo. You can go to the library research database and use Literary Reference Center if you want to. Problem is that like some of these poems are so recent that I just don't know if there's anything published about them because I pulled most of this stuff just for my own personal reading. Sorry. Okay. Um, Again, you put the title of the poem in the search box. Click advanced search. Maybe look up theme or symbolism or imagery, style, and then you can try to find an article that you can use to help, with your analysis. Okay. The great thing about using Galileo, the great thing about it is that it already provides you with the MLA citation. If you go to the article and you click on the citation button and you scroll down alphabetical order until you find MLA, then all you gotta do is copy and paste the citation. You don't have to worry about going to like easybib.com or anything. Okay, read the article, find a quote, boom. Finish your essay and go make a sandwich. Okay. Listen, quoting when you get to the point where you are ready to write your analysis of the poems. Okay. Oops. Uh-oh. I have. Oh, there I am. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. So when you are writing about your poem, okay, you need to do the following. It's a little bit different than quoting a short story. And I'm gonna tell you this: if you do not punctuate the poetry quotes correctly, you will lose points. Okay, be very clear about that. So when you start, what you should do is go to your poem and go ahead and create the lines, which I think I demonstrated for you. Let's see, the poem annotation notes. I did not, but I did talk about it though in the lecture. Okay, you take the lines and you number them. You can either try to do it automatically like that, okay, or if let's see here, I think this is, yeah, you can just highlight it. Problem is I have these pictures, I have my notes on it and stuff, and I don't think it's gonna do it with all these. Let's see. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, cool. Line 1, line 2, line 3. Okay. Now you can't do all. If I highlight up here and go all the way down, then it's gonna highlight them as if they're all one. You have to do the number line, the number for each line individually. Okay. So like that's like step 1. You need to just go ahead and number the poem, so that way when you are quoting it, you know what number of the line it is. You see, like, look, this didn't really do it up here. You gotta check it to make sure that like it's correct. Okay. But like this poem, this one got numbered correctly. Because when you don't put page numbers in your citations, you put line numbers. Line numbers. So number each line of the poem. And then you want to integrate the quotes seamlessly into your sentence, or at least use a signal phrase. Use a forward slash to indicate where lines of the poem have been combined. In the parentheses, write the line number is where the quote comes from. Okay, so look right here. Here's our here's an example from the poem The Giving Tree. I want to buy things and have fun, line 5. I want some money, line 6. I'm sorry, said the tree, but I have no money, line 7. I have only leaves and apples, line 8. Get my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will, line 9. Have money and you'll be happy, line 10. So if I was writing about that here, this is how it would look. The tree in the poem represents the selflessness and empathy women show to their loved ones, period. When the boy exclaims that, I want to buy things and have fun, slash, I want some money, quotation mark 5 through 6. Okay. So this quote is integrated into this sentence when the boy exclaims that. If you notice right here, there is no comma after that. We don't have commas after that. When you use the word that, you go straight into the quote. Quotation mark. I want to buy things and have fun. See, I want to buy things and have fun. And then we have this slash, this dash, this forward, no, this is slash. Forward slash. I want some money. That's this line right here. I don't go to another line to write this. I just have this forward slash tells us that the next line is the next sentence or phrase is from a different line. Then I have a quotation mark, and then I have a parentheses 5 through 6. This tells the reader that this came from these are quotes from lines 5 and line 6. The tree, wanting to help him, self-destructively tells him, comma. All right, now look, tells him. Because I don't use the word that, I put a comma here. Now, if I had written wanting to tell him self-destructively, wanting to help him self-destructively, tells him that, and then if I put the word that, I delete that comma. Okay. Quote, I have no money, slash, I have only leaves and apples, slash, take my apples, and sell them in the city. Quotation mark. 7 through 9. Okay, so here we have 3 lines. I have no money. I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. I have only leaves and apples. Look, period, because there's a period there. So there's a period here. Slash. Take my apples, ... and sell them in the city. What? Well, that ... that's an ellipses. That tells us that there were some things omitted from that quote, which is fine. We look over here. Take my apples, boy. Decided to leave out boy and just put and sell them in the city. So I took away this and put a ... quotation mark. Then lines 7 through 9. See, 7 through 9. Okay? Boom! 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 You do not listen. If you're writing one paragraph about the poem by Amanda Lovelace, once you mention Amanda Lovelace's name in that paragraph, you don't have to put her last name in the parenthetical citation every single time you are writing about her poem, as long as it occurs in that one paragraph. Now, if you want to talk about her and then you talk about another poet in that same paragraph, and then you come back to her, then you do need to put the last name in, because it'll be hard for the reader to know like which poem you're talking about, which poet you're talking about. Okay? All right. You want to research topics that deal with your poetry packet. So like you're gonna want to research things like female friendship and abusive relationships. I don't know if I still have that poem that relates to that in the packet, but anyways. If you read the poem Alone, to me, that poem Alone is about homosexuality in a kid, realizing this and feeling isolated. So you could research depression and homosexuality in children, how feelings of exclusion can make them feel depressed. You can research coming out in adolescence and the difficulties of that. You could research racial inequalities, perpetuating black stereotypes. So whatever spin you want to take on analyzing the poem, it's fine. You just find some research that supports that. Okay? So for example, when analyzing literature, find research that supports your interpretation rather than finding research about someone else's interpretation. Okay? So let's take this article. In a society that fetishizes female self-sacrifice, saying no, save me. I was writing a paper on the poem, which was eventually written into a book called The Giving Tree. I might use this article in my analysis of it. Okay, this article has nothing to do with The Giving Tree, but I think the theme of female self-sacrifice is evident in The Giving Tree. And there's this quote: "We so often say yes to favors, requests, and unrealistic parenting expectations because we fear being accused of being rude, mean, or selfish." Okay, so I actually want to do a couple of things about this. For one, let me do something. All right, here we go. Okay, so I want you to notice this singular quotation mark. See, it's single. It's single. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do this one right here. Yes, single, single. That's because in the original quote, these quotation marks wouldn't be here because it was actually in the actual article. And in the actual article, it says we often say yes. Okay, but because I might quote this in my paper, then I delete these double quotation marks and I put just a single because this is a quote within a quote. All right. And I don't want, you can't have double quotation marks inside of double quotation marks. So that double for yes changes to a singular. Now, also, what we could do is we is might be misleading and not really understood when taken out of context. So I could, as the writer, could say, using this quote in my paper, I think it would be better if instead of saying we using this pronoun, I just write what that we represents. That we represents women. So I modify that word. I'm modifying that quote. Now I'm not changing the meaning of the quote, okay? Because that we was referring to her, the writer, and her fellow sisters in womanhood. So, but like I'm a man. I'm a man writing this, and this we is not inclusive to me. Okay, so I'm talking about like we as in parents. It's talking about we as in women, the writer of the article. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to change the we to women to make it more specific. Okay, so the bracket tells the reader that this word woman or women wasn't originally in this, but whatever word was originally there, this is what that word is referring to. Okay. Switch. Okay. Oh, oh, oh. Up, 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 up. Okay. Working mothers have shouldered the majority of the burden around. Okay, another bracket. The home. Again, this ellipsis is used to shorten what the longer quote originally was, but we took that out because it's unnecessary. Remember, we only want 30% of our paragraph to be quotes. So we don't want to have super long quotes. I do not want you to have long quotes. A lot of you had way too long of quotes in your papers. Okay. And your quotes shouldn't be longer than like 2.5 lines. All right. So as much as you can shorten them, the better. As long as what you shorten doesn't change the meaning of it. Oh my God, people. I have 10 minutes and we're on slide 13 of 40. Sorry. Okay. Putting it all together. So look, this is the kind of paragraph I'm looking from you. All right. And I'm going to read it and then I'm going to talk about all the important things. In the giving tree, the tree represents the self-sacrificing nature of women and how society, as in the boy, represented by the boy, symbolized by the boy, takes advantage of the female sex, expecting her to give her entirety to serve the common good. Okay, this is what you call my main idea. This is my claim, my main idea. This paragraph is about the giving tree, okay? And it's about how it represents self-sacrificing women get taken advantage of. Okay, my main idea. Everything that I'm talking about in this paragraph relates back to that. How women are feel pressured to be self-sacrificing, to give everything away, and that it is not good for them. Okay. What comes next is my support. In her article, and before the article's name, I have a comma, I have a quotation mark, because remember, titles of articles and poems go inside quotation marks. They should not be italicized. In her article, in a society that fetishizes female self-sacrifice, saying no, save me, comma, quotation mark, Grace Kinning discusses the burden at home that women faced during the pandemic and how one word saved the author. No. She writes that this is where that, if there's a that, there is no comma and there's no capital letter here. She writes that we so often say yes to favors, requests, and unrealistic parenting expectations because we fear being accused of being rude, mean, or selfish. Quotation mark and page number. This is on page 2 of that article. Okay. In the giving tree, The tree doesn't say no, and because of that, she loses everything she has. If the tree had said no to the boy, she wouldn't have lost everything in the end. Women are the trees. Okay, now pause. Here, it's more support. I'm summarizing events from the book. Okay, or from the poem. The tree doesn't say no, and she loses everything. And then I can prediction. If she had said no, she wouldn't have lost everything. And then I am analyzing. I am explaining what all this means. Women are the trees. They give everything, saying yes even if it will hurt them. As the author argues, women should learn how to say no because, quote, we can at least draw boundaries around what we can and cannot take on, end quote. Page 2. Notice, this we is not capitalized. Not capitalized. Not every quote begins with a capital letter. Okay? Only if that quote starts after a verb like he says, she writes. But because this sentence is connected to this previous sentence with the conjunction because, we do not have a comma and we do not have capital letter. The poem serves as an allegory to teach young girls how not to be used by the people in their lives. Okay? We got summaries from the, like, you don't have to have a direct quote from the poem. You can have a summary, you can have a paraphrase, you can have a reference to the poem, and then you can have a direct quote from your secondary source. Okay? So, do not have to have direct quote. But if you do have a direct quote, it needs to be integrated correctly. It should not be super long. It should not be the majority of your paper or essay or paragraph. Respectable sources outside of Galileo. New York Times, Vulture, The Atlantic, Slate, The Guardian, The Economist, The Washington Times, Psychology Today, New York Magazine. Okay. All right. So I just did kind of a crash course of the of your of a paragraph, of a body paragraph. Okay. These notes cover the way that you should construct your body paragraph. All of your paragraphs in your essay. Okay. I'm gonna run out of time, and I realize I don't like recording lectures for you that are longer than 30 minutes because I just don't think that knowing individuals and how their attention spans, I just don't think that it's very good. Okay, I think people start to lose focus. So I'm gonna summarize all this real fast. I'm gonna go through this real fast and tell you, and I want you to go back through the notes and I want you to read them specifically. Okay, and make sure you follow exactly what I've laid out for you in these notes, in this PowerPoint, because it is what I expect. These are my absolute expectations for your essay. And when I'm grading your essay, I'm going to be looking for all of this stuff. And if I don't see it, you will lose points. Okay, I'm going to be very clear. So, like your introduction, this is what you should be doing. Okay, go through this. How you starting out broad, going more narrow. All of these 3 bullet points. I'm sorry, 4 bullet points. Okay, this is the outline for your introduction. Try to do these things in this order, and you'll be good. All right. And here's a little bit of example. This is an example of a thesis statement. All right. This is not an example of your introduction. This is just a thesis statement. Poetry is a fundamental way to express one's existence. As it can be seen, the symbolism of house in the world, the theme of phenomenal woman, and the feminist messages in what they don't tell you. That's a thesis statement. Okay? Try to write yours. If you're having problems with this, you can send me through an email. Send me your attempts, and I can give you some feedback. Conclusion. Here's all the things you should think about. The conclusion is just the introduction in reverse. These are the things that you should do in your conclusion. Okay? And give it a try. Body paragraphs. All right? This is the parts of a body paragraph. The claim support analysis. I went over that with the previous paragraphs. All right? Here's additional information that you need to read through and understand. I'm going to be grading you on whether you are doing this correctly. Is your body paragraph divided into 3 parts: claim, support, and analysis, and not too much support. 30% of your body paragraph should be support, whether that is summary and or quotes, and then the rest of it should be explanation. Okay, make sure you read through all this and that you understand it. Send me questions. All right, here's an example, a paragraph. I want you to read this paragraph. I want you to look at the claim. I want you to look at just the support, and I want you to look at the analysis. Make sure you read through this and understand the best way to be a good writer is to emulate good writing. Okay, this is essentially the way that, like, if we were to color code the claim, support, and the analysis, this is the way it would look. Okay, so read through that. Should we understand this? I gave you some other examples. Okay, I give you some examples of good writing, strong writing, and bad writing. These were like actual student samples. Okay, so I want to make sure that you really go through all that and that you understand the expectation for your writing. Also, I want you to review this poetry MLA style PDF. It's right here. Okay, this goes over how you are to reference and cite and quote poetry. Okay, this is very important. So you need to make sure you read this and understand how to do it. If you're not sure if you're doing it correctly, you can give it a try, and then you can send me an email. Works cited page. This is the way your 3 poems should be cited. You can take this and copy this, and then just change the author's name and the title of the poems. Keep this: Perspectives in Poetry, edited by Jeremiah Byers. That's me. I'm going at Tech Press. I just put this document together, so we're just calling it what it is, and we're just saying I edited it, and that Gwinnett Tech doesn't actually have a press, but we're just imagining so. And leave it at 2020 because that's when I put these poems together. Okay, so you should have 3 of these for the 3 poems that you're doing, and then you should have 3 sources for your outside sources. All right, read through all this stuff and make sure that you are following the rules. You will be held accountable for it. Okay, email me any questions that you have. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Bye-bye.